Hey there, thank you so much for tuning into our podcast. But before I take you to your show, I have a very small request to make. Do check out the other episodes that we have created so far. And as you know, we are available on all major music and podcast streaming apps across the world. So, whichever podcasting platform you're listening to, do hit the follow button and leave us a rating, as that will help us improve our content and reach a wider audience. And with that, welcome to the show.
Hello, all of you beautiful people of the world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Dev Sajjano. A very proud moment for me today because in the morning where I went to have a good Saturday morning run, there were a lot of people who came there for, army trainings, who wanted to get into the Indian Army. And there's a thing in Indian Army that they have to run like 1600 kilometers in 5 minutes or something. So when I started running, there were a couple of guys who joined me and they challenged me that, do you want to give us a challenge? Like, do you want to compete with us and see if we are well trained, or what's your pace? Something like that. And the moment we started, so I ran 2 kilometers, those guys ran 1600 meters, and it was the same times. I was so thrilled that those guys came
Wow.
to me and asked me for, food tips and workout tips and everything. And I was the boss. I told them, you know what, I eat everything. And they're like, no, you cannot eat everything. So, anyway, that was a very proud moment. But at the same time, I thought that maybe I could try for the army selection. And what do you think, Priya?
Laksh part 2. Let's make it happen. Also, did this really happen? Please tell me. How old were they?
They were around 24, 25. Yeah, they were
Still
of
big
that age.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. But I must say, like 24, 25 is prime fitness
Yeah.
for anyone.
Also, this is a celebrity moment for you because
Huge,
what all things you eat. मैं तो सब खाता हूँ.
huge moment. And when I came back home, I said all of these things. I explained the entire story to my family, and they were like, "Chalo, theek hai. Udhar kapda rakh do. Chai bana hua hai." Nobody gave a shit.
Back to home. Back to
Back to home.
basics.
But you know what, Priya? A great, great episode is lined up today. We have an
Yes.
amazing guest, a
Yeah.
super talented person, like very, very famous between the girls. And recently, he has picked up a new hobby and he has nailed it. He is just so amazing. Excellent artist, extremely passionate about football. And he has finally confessed that Messi is a better player than Ronaldo. And let me bring on Abhishek Dhar, also known as Mama in most parts of the world. So, Abhishek, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, Gaurav. Hey, Priyanka. Thanks a lot for the introduction and thanks for having me here. I would like to talk about two things before we go ahead. First is that I've been following your running journey for a while now, and yeah, it's really inspiring to see. I think you went to Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And there you did some marathon and stuff. Yeah, man, it's really inspiring. Yeah, great going. And because I remember back in the college when, like KG mentioned, right, he eats everything, right? Even in college, he used to, hog on everything that is out there. But still, when he goes out there and, plays football, he was the best winger out there or the best left back.
Ooh,
Yeah, don't fly.
blushing
uh,
moment.
right. And second thing about Messi and Ronaldo, I think we'll need 4 or 5
5
podcasts
hours. Hmm.
just to talk about who is the best. But I did not confess anything like that. But yeah, he has been supreme. And oh man, this World Cup, right?
Oh,
It
dear.
was like a story. Like I didn't have any hatred for Messi, or it's not like I disliked him, but
Yes.
it's just that the journey, right? Because as a storyteller, I love good stories, and this World Cup and the the whole journey of Messi from where he got up and where he is today, right? It's a great thing to witness.
Exactly, man. We talked about it just after after the World Cup. We had the episode, and in that we talked about, like, what is a perfect what how does a perfect career look like? You had
Yeah.
your share of success. You had your share of failures, you had the backlashes, you had everything, but the ultimate thing is you come out victorious out of it. You come out with the World Cup. That's the ultimate. I mean, he had every little award that football could offer him, but just that
Right.
World Cup was not there, and people thought that he's still not comparable with Maradona,
Hmm.
right? And now that comparison is done. It's not about Messi versus Ronaldo. It's more the internet makes it, sound like that, because the Ronaldo fans will go out and say, "Oh, he's still at 38 doing sprints and scoring hat tricks and all that." But it's just two genius players at work, and you as a viewer, we as a viewer, got to witness that. Not Priya. I mean, she's not very
Before
much
you
into
say anything,
football.
that's what I wanted to say. Before you mock me for this, let's just get into this beautiful instrument Abhishek Bhaiya plays,
Yeah,
and
can you yeah, go ahead, Priya.
how he got first introduced to this instrument. Is there a story behind?
Story about the instrument. Yeah. Uh, I'm this kind of person, who listens to music every time I'm doing some focused work. Call it doing illustration, sketching, or even typing an email. Right? If I'm typing in email. That sounds very positive or optimistic, I'll listen to some happy music. But if I'm very pissed and if I'm writing that email, I'll listen to some post rock. So yeah, music has been a very integral part of my life when it comes to expressing myself there. And last year, I think, yeah, it was last year 2020, yeah. So cool, it was 2022, 2021 December, I clearly remember. Okay. I had some very tight deliverables at work. It was very hectic, and so I used to listen to a lot of Beethoven and Mozart and post rock and all this instrumental music at work, right? So we can also talk about instrumental music and music with vocals later on this part. But
Sure,
at
sure.
that point of time, I was just browsing through YouTube, and I just saw a thumbnail of this one guy holding this UFO shaped instrument that was shining bright. Sun rays was reflecting from that instrument surface, and I clicked on it. Okay, and like, I'm so glad I clicked on that YouTube suggestion. I can say that it's the first time I'm glad that I clicked on one suggestion, right? And the next 5 minutes or next 5 to 7 minutes, uh, what I was listening to, I mean, it touched, the untouched parts of me. I don't know how to explain this because it's beyond explainable, the beauty of that instrument. And after that, my whole research started. What is that instrument? Who is that artist? How to get it? And how do you play this instrument and so on. So from there, I got to know about Handpan in December, and from there, then I was thinking, okay, since listening to this instrument is so peaceful, calming, and so touching, right? So how would it feel when you are actually playing that instrument, right? Because I used to play guitar, I also play keyboard, but
Oh,
I that's that part, right? That you are able to connect with the instrument, like I'm
mm,
able to connect with sketching or illustration because I'm able to express without second thoughts, right? But that gap was there with me, or guitar with me and keyboard. So I thought that this is it, and this instrument is very costly. We can also talk about it. So it was like a decision for me to take that, is it worth it, right? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, you got one life, and you
yeah.
just got to do things that you want to do, right? So then I ordered Handpan, and I got to know about this guy who is in Bangalore. His name is Chirag. He has his own company called Chirp Handpans. So he used to work as a product manager in Microsoft, and he was trained in classical music before. And again, his passion for music made him quit his job, and he got trained in how to make handpans, and he started making handpans. He devoted his whole
Wow.
life to making handpans. And yeah, I contacted him, and he told me a lot about handpans. Again, we can talk about the anatomy of handpans later, but I placed an order with him, and it took him 3 months to craft that handpan from scratch. And yeah, I think last year March, somewhere mid March, I got that, and it was like a birthday gift for me. I that, that I gifted myself. So yeah, that's how
Perfect.
I got introduced to
So just
handpan.
one quick thing, Abhishek.
Yeah.
The handpan that you got as as a gift for yourself, was that handcrafted, like specially designed for you?
So specially designed as in so handpan comes with different scales, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, handpan. So if you go to any music store, you will see hundreds and hundreds of guitars, right? Because when you compare the production of instruments like guitar, keyboard, and all, they are mass-produced instruments. But handpan is not. So little history about this instrument, that this
Yeah.
instrument is fairly new, right? It was founded in 2001 in Switzerland by like group of two or three people. They used to call it the pan art community, and matlab, the intent was to not commercialize this instrument, because it is very difficult to mass produce this instrument. You'll have to invest a lots and lots of money to mass produce, and again the consumption from the customers as well. They don't anticipate this to be as much as guitar, ukulele, or any other
Correct.
instrument.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Is it because of the material used in making this instrument, handpan?
right. So it's a nitrided steel shell. So it all starts with two plates of shell. I can, maybe share the links also of few videos where they craft hand pans. But it's like two sheets of metal, and they press that metal to create that dome-like shape, right? And thing is, when you hit metal, right? So handpan is a percussive instrument. So when you hit metal, over a period of time, it loses its shape, right? It bends. But what is done here is that that steel is run through nitrogen, and that's what they nitride it basically. So it's nitrided, and it becomes a nitrided steel. And nitrided nitrogen, what it does to the steel is it makes a very hard shell. So yeah, it lasts long, and it does not loses its shape. But at the same time, it's a very fragile instrument. If you drop it once,
Mhm.
it's gone. You have to take it to the whoever the manufacturer is and get it fixed. So it's a nitrided steel, and there are other materials also, but mostly it's steel.
Mm.
Awesome. Awesome. And like you, let's go back to where you picked it up from, the YouTube thumbnail.
Right.
Um, so how long did it take for you to actually start with it? Because we all buy instruments and then it's just kept in one corner of the house, because initially we are excited about it, want to learn like this, want to play like Arijit Singh and something like that, and
Mhm.
then it's kept in one corner of the house just as a showpiece. But you picked it up immediately and you just went on with it, right?
Yeah. So that 3 months wait, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a leap of faith, and also I spent a lot of time researching about the pan. So I'll tell you, handpan is not that difficult to play. It is so you have all the swar, all the scales in one instrument, and like the way handpan is designed is, and as if you compare it to other musical instrument, you can have multiple scales in guitar or keyboard, right? But single handpan can only is only designed in one scale. So the handpan that I have is it's called a D curd 10. So it's designed in D scale, and in music, different scales. Uh, you know gets you that different emotions in music, right? Like people
Right.
say that D scale is a little sad scale, but it not might be sad for other people, and C scale is very playful. F sharp scale gives you more, that Arabian Nights wala feel. It
Yeah.
will give you, right. So this is very specific to D scale, and that is, I think, one of the limitations when you have a handpan, that sometimes again when you're singing, right? So in guitar you can go up the scale or down the scale and match the vocals, but in handpan you can't do that. You're just limited to one scale. So okay, so during that 3 months, what I used to do was I used to listen to a lot of handpan music, and I used to practice on table, and I used to practice on that pan kitchen utensil, right? I used to
Wow.
use that
Yeah.
because again you use your thumb, you use your fingers to get that sound. So I wanted that when I get the handpan, because I was getting very impatient, right? And I didn't want to spend a lot of time just learning the basics. learning the basics as in how to hit the instrument, where to hit the instrument. So I just practiced it without having a handpan, just practicing on any surfaces that I used to get.
Mm.
Excellent, excellent. That's the way to go, Priya. What do you
Y-
think?
KGB, of course, as a biology student, I learned few chapters where they said that to have a healthy central nervous system and a good memory and attention span, and for that part to get active, and
Mm-hmm.
even it helps in increasing your IQ. Learning any instrument is important. So, for example, in a few parts of the world, like Japan primarily, they take care of their children, like they really involve all these activities since the early age, like 5 6, when they are 5 6 year old, and they push them so that they can learn to be a better person in general. And all these things, like as you said, you like Abhishek Bhaiya, he has learned other instruments as well, guitar, violin, and you, KG Bhaiya, you also know, we all know that you're a good piano player now, pro, who just plays on stations and all. I really want to see you play like that. All these things actually helps your brain to get healthier. I'm saying this because now that you are in an age where, okay, it'll not be a I might not be a passionate player, but it somewhere helps your self confidence. For example, when you enter a room
Yeah.
and someone introduces you like the way you introduce him, he's a great handpan player, his name is Abhishek. So that's how, it becomes your identity also.
So
And
basically, it's a mental connection. Basically, what you're trying to say.
that's what it is. Like, it's really a beautiful part that when Bhaiya is explaining that before buying that product, he
Mm-hmm.
was actually involving himself in preparing himself कि मैं यहाँ पे utensils के साथ एक बार देखता हूँ, यहाँ देखता हूँ.
Yeah.
और इसके साथ साथ what happens when he said मैं काम करते वक्त whenever I'm working, I listen to music according to my mood. And there is another, like, one question which I have for Abhishek Bhaiya. As a player yourself, have you ever come across any Indian song which grabbed your attention with respect to like how diverse instruments were used? Of course, A.R. Rahman is one of the many names we have in our mind. So
Yeah.
So true. Yeah.
yeah,
If I can think of such music, I'll say that it's Cuna by Amit Trivedi in I think Coke Studio, and yeah, KG will be able to relate it very well because
Yeah.
we used to jam on it in college, and it's a beautiful song. They have used so many instruments there. Yeah.
nice.
And Abhishek, talking about the handpan instrument, so I remember like back in 2019, sometime, I was in Himachal Pradesh,
Hmm.
and there was this, I mean, very beautiful river flowing, and there was a hostel around it, and a group of people were playing this instrument. And that is the first time when I thought that, okay, this is some instrument which I have never seen before, and it was so peaceful. I mean, uh, I don't think this instrument could be used in a rock kind of a music. I may be completely wrong, but it was so calming there. You just sit in the balcony of your hostel and look at the river, and in the background, this handpan is being played. So, what do you think? What kind of music genres can this instrument be used in, or is used in currently?
So I'm a part of this handpan community in India. We have like 300 or 400 people, right? And initially, I used to think that this instrument cannot be played with any other instrument because this belongs to a idiophone family, or idiophone basically the sound generates from the surface of the instrument, right? But like guitar, it's a string based instrument and so on. But to my surprise, people are jamming handpan with guitar. People are
Hmm.
jamming handpan with uh, uh, what do you call that box, clap box, right? You sit on it
Yeah.
and you play djembe, right? So handpan goes very well, since it also has a percussive feel to it. It goes very well with other percussive instrument, like even with tabla. So long back, I went to my cousin's place, and their neighbor, there was an uncle. He was trained in 12, or like he was classically trained, and he had 20 or 25 instruments, all percussive instrument, different type of tablas, things he sourced from Syria and so on, right? So I got the opportunity to jam with him, and even with tabla, handpan sounds really good. But yeah, like you're talking about rock music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I haven't experienced yet. Uh, Again, like electric guitar, how will that go with handpan? It's a question, right? And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, there are more possibilities to it. Again, like it's a new instrument, fairly new
Yeah. Yeah.
instrument, 2001, and people are still exploring. And so recently there's a community called Neopan. I don't exactly remember the name, but what they have done is they have digitized this instrument. So the limitations that you had with handpan was that you are only limited to one scale. But what these guys did is they have created a wooden shell handpan, and you can change the scales in it. It's just that the sound won't come from the instrument. You have to connect to a speaker, like you do with electric guitar, and then play. It's very cool. The
Oh,
the
I
way
mean,
things are
yeah.
in handpan. Yeah.
So basically, music has no limitations. If it's not there in rock right now, there may be somebody doing a research as we are speaking and put it into a band. And to bring, earlier we thought that tabla is not a part of a rock band,
Yeah.
but later on we saw a lot of musicians,
How
including
the
tabla.
fusion done. Yes.
Yeah. So I think this will be a part of it in future.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, because music has no limitations, is what I think.
And if you have heard of this band Bayan from Pakistan, they're one of my favorite band, right? And their very recent track, Dil Ka Ghar, the initial part of it, I feel that they have used a little bit of handpan there because it sounds exactly like handpan. So I feel that
Okay.
it is making its way to mainstream music slowly, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense because you cannot keep an instrument away from, restricted to a specific genre just
Genre.
because,
Mm.
yeah, the music is so vast.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about you a little more. Um, so you mentioned earlier, Priya also noticed it that we all listen to instrumental music at
Yes.
some stage. You said that while you had tough deliverables at work and you were listening to instrumental music. How does instrumental music impact us? Because sometimes we fall for the lyrics and we start noticing the lyrics very specifically, but instrumental music, there's no specific lyrics. It's just the tunes of a particular instrument hitting a system. What do you think? Can you talk something about that?
So I won't talk about a lot of philosophy here or gyan here, but I can just relate to a few real life examples from my end, right? Uh, Suppose I'm not working, I'm not doing anything, right? And I have a meeting upcoming or a presentation upcoming. So I'll immediately, put music from Amit Trivedi in Udan. If you have watched that movie, Udan, Azadiyan. That is one of my favorite songs. That it has lyrics.
Yeah.
So it's like someone is narrating a story to you, and you are listening to it. And as a listener, you just vibe on it, right? You just vibe on it, and it just does something to your brain. And when you come out of that after 5 minutes of that song, you feel more empowered. You feel more powerful, right? But when it comes to instrumental music, like things like Beethoven or Mozart, or like I mentioned, post rock, right?
Mhm.
So so I also illustrate. So in Inktober 2020, Inktober is nothing but a series of illustrations, or you have prompts for all the artists. So over the period of 31 days, you use that prompt to sketch. So during Inktober, I got introduced to post rock music, and my whole Inktober was all about the evolution of human life, and it kind of, the music does something to your brain, and that reflects in the form of art, right? So again, it's something that a lot of researchers have also been talking about, that how instrumental music uh, boosts your productivity versus uh, music with vocals. It does not really boost your productivity at work, because let's say I'm doing some focused work, like I mentioned, right? If I'm writing an email, and if I'm
Yeah.
writing an email listening to Eminem, right, it will be very difficult for me to complete that email, or whatever Eminem is talking about in his song, right? It might influence whatever I'm writing in that email.
True.
But when I'm listening to some instrumental music, it's just music, and I have the complete freedom to interpret it the way I want. The music is it's not forcing me to feel the music, the artist's want to.
Yes. Because in our head, we are always completing the lyric, or we are expecting this is gonna come, this part is gonna come. So it somewhere distracts.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
to some.
I also want to ask you both guys, do you also feel that when we music has this uh, certain element of bringing in nostalgia, right?
Let
Yeah.
me
And
tell you, the Malgudi days, the music of Malgudi days, if any of you guys remember,
yeah, yeah,
ta na na ta na 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 na, it of course I had this beautiful connection with my grandmother, who is no more, but unka pura the way she used to talk, and every bit of that scenario comes in front of my eyes whenever I listen to that particular bit. And I think 90s babies can relate to this.
Yeah.
Only 90s babies.
Yeah, I mean, nostalgia does hit you with a lot of songs. I'm like Abhishek, you were rightly mentioning. Uh, Music with lyrics at times just distracts you from what you're doing. I remember when I used to work and I saw everybody putting earphones and doing their work. So I tried it once. And what happened is I got so engrossed in the music that I kept on rewinding the song and listening to the music instead of working, what
yeah,
I was actually supposed to do, because I said, "Oh, this is a nice part. Let me listen to it again." And at the end of the day, I thought that it's not boosting my productivity at all. It's in fact distracting me. So basically, I would just stop it and listen to podcasts like
Yeah,
"Say That Again,
that's
Mate."
what.
You know?
No,
yeah.
actually, I do listen to podcasts. Yesterday, KGB, I was listening to few songs. Early 2000 ke songs I was listening to, and then I started searching for same era ke songs, and it took like half an hour for me to figure out which song I want to end with, and then I closed the app. I said I cannot. Ye to
Yeah.
it's wasting my time. So I closed it, and I was like, without music, I'll work. And then I started listening podcast after a while.
Why are we dissing music? Music with lyrics, they're amazing, just not good while you're
No, it's
working.
just while working. While working, it doesn't always work uh,
Yeah.
towards your productivity. That's how. That's how.
So in
Yeah.
1993, Mozart, right, he has produced some brilliant compositions, and scientists discovered that if you listen to Mozart sonata for 10 minutes, right, or 10 to 15 minutes, whatever, it resulted in better spatial reasoning skills. And this was research they did back in 1993, and they used to call this the Mozart effect.
Oh, yes. I've heard about
Mozart.
this word. I have heard about this word, the Mozart effect.
Yeah,
There's
What
so
is it?
many such things backed by science, you know.
right.
So many music, I mean, vibrations which are backed by science. I remember when I was learning piano, my instructor told me that, so there's a particular scale called blue scale,
Mhm.
which is mostly used in Latin American songs which are sad, which are on a sadder note. So he told me that this is one scale. So Latin American songs, if you listen Spanish songs, they're all very full of vibes and you're grooving and all. But one song he recommended, it was of I think it was of Bad Bunny, and it we never understood the lyrics, but the entire you know the way we absorbed the song, it was like, okay, this is not good, this is not happening, this is not like a very enthusiastic song. This is something which basically we were trying to understand the blue scale.
Yeah,
And that is where we understood that, okay, this scale, even if you don't know the lyrics, even if you don't understand what the person is trying to say, if you're not watching the video, you're just listening to the audio, you'll get a zest like, okay, this song is about something dark. So the scales basically. So I
Yeah,
think a lot of these things are backed by science and rightly mentioned by Abhishek.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
So
like,
yeah,
what
go.
do you think about storytelling and music, right? Because KG, I know that you write a lot of poems and you are into stories. I've written a lot of short stories as well. I still remember, right? So you
Yeah.
are into that storytelling domain, right? So yeah, what because
I think
even yeah,
it
go.
adds to the mood of the audience, you know. It just
Mm,
adds so much value to what you are narrating. There's a thing called, you know, monotone, where you are just saying and the person is grasping it. But if you're putting a bit of music behind it in a softer note, it adds emotions to what you're saying.
absolutely.
And that is where I thought that storytelling with a bit of, can be any instrument, let's say
Mm,
a very mildly played piano, a very softly played guitar tune, or now I would like surely want to try something with handpan. I'm saying something and handpan, maybe you are playing handpan at a certain scale which adds
mm.
to the story, and I think this will just impact in a very positive way to the audience, and it'll, the storytelling would be like 10x better,
Boost
is what I.
attention. Yeah, I
Yeah.
myself have heard story tellers, and the music intensifies with the story. I've seen, like,
Yeah,
if
Yeah.
the girl or the guy is having a turning point towards the story, so the music intensified, and then this happened and this happened. So yeah, it boosts the aura of attention and everything. Also, Abhishek Bhaiya, I wanted to ask, have you ever played in public?
yeah. So this Wednesday, I go to yoga every day. So there is an institute which is close to my place, and one day I was just talking to the instructor, and we're talking about music and yoga, right? So I told her that I play this instrument which is very meditative and goes very well with meditation and yoga. So I took my handpan to the yoga center on Wednesday, and yeah, I played a little piece for all of them, and we just meditated for 6 minutes there.
Uh,
Awesome. Awesome. I think you can also try this by taking sessions online, where we can have like a 30-minute session, meditative session with handpan and a proper yoga instructor instructing about the meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is like a prospect. I don't know if it's already done, but this could be like a very interesting space. And also like you rightly mentioned, it goes really well with meditation. I told you, when I was in Himachal Pradesh and I listened to this instrument for the very first time, I thought that it's really meditative. It's so calm and so peaceful. There's no stress. There's You don't need a particular, you know, attentiveness or attention to listen to it or enjoy it. If it just keeps on playing while you are half asleep, you still are gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. Again, backed by science, that how vibrations uh, can make a positive impact on you. So even when you do yoga, right? Sometimes when you meditate, you create that sound, right? So when
Yeah,
you're making that sound, it does nothing but just vibrates your internal organs, your body, and everything. So when all of that is vibrating, it also puts in positive impact. And like, since handpan belongs to the idiophone family, the vibration is coming from the surface, right? And again, that vibration is translated into your body and you feel good. Like, same goes with any other form of music as well.
exactly. And are there any like current or famous musics from the past where this instrument has been used? If you remember
So music as in do you mean songs with
any
lyrics?
yeah,
yes.
any famous
Any
song from
composed?
any
Oh,
compositions.
compositions. Oh man, like Malte Martin. This is the guy who I got introduced to when I clicked on that suggestion, right? What a guy, man! I want to meet him once in my life, and I just want to tell him that I love you, and I have commented on a lot of his videos that thanks for existing. He's just amazing. Things that he does with Handpan, it's beautiful. You guys should definitely listen to his music.
Yeah, we will.
Surely,
Are
surely.
there,
This will be a great add to our listeners.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any your personally curated compositions which is very personal to you? Have you ever tried doing that?
Yes, so I'm currently working on a couple of compositions, which I hope I'll release sometime in April. Yeah, it's a work in progress, and I'm still learning on
Nice.
the
Great.
way. Yeah.
And I also like remember I've also watched that video. You did a particular piece and you uploaded it on YouTube and it got a lot of hit within months. You talk
Yes.
about something about that.
Interstellar. I mean,
Yeah,
the magic of Hans Zimmer. So I recently also published a article on storytelling with Handpan, and I can share that link with you guys. So
of course.
thing is that storytelling as an artist, if you are an artist or if you're a storyteller, right, the basics of storytelling applies to different mediums. So I'm a product designer. We make presentations, we present our work to PMs, engineers on a day-to-day basis. There is a storytelling there as well in design, right? Even as an artist, it's there. And even when I got to know more about this Handpan, there was storytelling here too, right? So again, Interstellar, I don't even remember the number of hours I've spent listening to Interstellar, and that was one of the music that I was practicing on table, on utensils, on my thighs, or everywhere I used to get in those 3 months, that wait period, right? So when talking about Interstellar, there's a reason why you are able to connect to it so well, or why it just sparks something inside you, the movie or even the music, right? It's all has to do with the tension and release. So in storytelling, if you the part where you create tension and you release the tension is where you hook the audience, and Interstellar does it really well, and even
Yeah.
other compositions of Hans Zimmer, they do it really well, right? So yeah, so I really wanted to cover that piece. I did a little on guitar long back, but वो feel नहीं आ रहा था. Keyboard पे it's really tough. Keyboard पे it's really tough, so I didn't even go there because
I
again
know.
keyboard में basic, intermediate, pro, right? I wanted to reach that pro stage. I didn't have patience, so I just left it there. But handpan, and it came to me naturally. So even in handpan, uh, okay, let me get my handpan. I'll tell you.
Yes.
So what you just heard is sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. These are individual notes. When I'm hitting one part in the handpan, right? And when I combine two or more than two notes, it becomes a chord like this. So this is a chord. And the
So
third
amazing.
level of difficulty is when you bring in percussive groups like this. So this is percussive groove, and the fourth level of difficulty is, as an artist, what is your identity? What is your way of self expression? Because we all have our own styles, right? So these are
Right.
four levels of difficulty. So I could reach only till level three for Interstellar because I made that cover, I think 2 months after getting the handpan, and I thought that, okay, I've just made it. Let's upload it. I'll make a better version. Maybe I'll go for a trek and go to some hilltop, and there'll be like full on starry night, and I'll record it there. But over a period of time, right, it started getting a lot of good hits from the audience, and I think right now I've reached like 2 lakh views on that video, and it is constantly increasing, and people are actually telling me, like giving me good feedback that some places you rushed, some places you did really well, and like a lot of people have been listening to it on loop. So I'm really happy that I was able to do that. But yeah, definitely I'm going to also release that cover on handpan on sorry Spotify real soon. So yeah, that was the Interstellar piece that I covered on handpan.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Priya, if you haven't watched it, I'll send you the link. It's
Yes.
so amazing. Just put your earphones on and you'll just immerse into that world. And also for our listeners, I'll attach that link in the description so that all of you can go and enjoy that Music by Mr. Abhishek Dhar, also known as Mama, who's so immersed into this instrument that, as you know, he talked about all the technicalities and every different aspect of this instrument and
Yeah.
how passionate he sounds when he's talking about this.
Yeah, I feel that passion is very important, right, kids?
Yeah,
Because मतलब जीने का अगर कोई मकसद ही नहीं हुआ, like you don't have any passion, and passion keeps changing with time to time.
yeah,
Today
yeah,
my
yeah.
passion is handpan, tomorrow it could be something else. So I just feel that that drive, right, it needs to be there, and for a person like me, it keeps me going.
For sure, for sure. And passion keeps on changing. So true, because one thing might get you bored after a certain time, and you see that the world is moving so fast. There's so many other things to explore, and you're still stuck on one thing. I think, yeah, I can totally relate to it. Priya, anything you want to add
I'm just
before we?
waiting for him to play a bit because the moment he just stroke one beat, I was there was already a smile on my face. So I'm just waiting for him to play something.
Let's not wait anymore. Mama, if you can play something for our audience and for us as well.
Sure. So I'll play two pieces. First is an improv on a higher loom, one of the composition that Sam Maher made, and after that I'll just play a little bit of some hints of the composition that I'm currently working on. I'll play a
Sure.
little bit of
Yeah.
that. Cool. So
Amazing. Let's go for it.
it's clear, right? The sound.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
perfect.
All right. So this was one of the piece, and now I'll
Beautiful.
Awesome. Priya, clap.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. It was surreal. It felt like I'm in a lavish place or somewhere where everyone is meditating and this music
A
is there.
high-end restaurant where the
Yeah,
salad is worth 1,800 rupees.
yeah,
Okay.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Petite amount of food is there on my plate. Amazing.
Mama, just ignore our comments. It was so amazing. I
So
was
beautiful.
continuously smiling.
thanks a lot, guys. Yeah.
So
Uh,
you were gonna play one of your compositions now
Yeah,
that you're working
not
on.
exactly like complete composition, but a small piece from the
Sure,
composition that
sure,
I'm
sure. Yeah.
working on, and it is evolving. So, yeah. So yeah, that was it.
Mm.
Still a work in
Oh
progress.
dear.
I
I
think you should
was,
get patent and everything get sorted for this, because otherwise people are gonna use this as a background music in some web series or something.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, the early morning audio.
Mm,
It's just like that. Early in the morning where sun is just about to rise and you're listening to this music. So good. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for
thank
doing this
you.
for us and our audience and coming
Yeah.
on the
Thanks a
podcast.
lot, guys. Yeah.
It was so amazing to have a
And
chat with
making
you.
a morning better. Thank you so much.
I'm glad. I'm glad I was able to do that. Thanks a lot. And yeah, great going. I wanted to ask, the story behind how you started your podcast. Right? Say that again, mate. I
Oh,
to understand that.
let me take that, Priya. So what used to happen is me and Priya, we are very good with talking.
Mhm.
This we are assuming that
Yeah,
we are very
correct.
good with
Just
talking.
wanted to add that.
So what happened is we whenever I used to call her or she called me, we kept on talking nonsense for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes an hour, and we suddenly didn't realize that okay, it's an hour that we're talking shit and we haven't even come to the main topic why I actually called you. Then we realized this is what podcasts are made for. you know
So Abhishek, bhaiya, what actually happened when he used to call for some very small thing? Ki, ye wala, have you seen this movie? And I said okay. And then we jumped on so many diverse topics like food, and then
Mhm.
music, and then movie mein actors ka dialogue, and then actor ki journey, everything we used to talk about. Then we thought that maybe we should, end up doing a podcast. Why are we talking for hours and wasting this?
Yeah, why are we wasting this on our content just on WhatsApp calls? Let's record it. That's how the podcast started, man. And
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys for having me and great going. Yeah, all the best to you both.
Thank you. I really
thank you
hope
so
we
much, Abhishek.
listen him live next time, KGB. What say? In Bangalore.
Um,
Yeah, sure. Most
for
welcome.
sure.
Okay.
He must be. I mean, he's gonna make it big. I knew it from day one that I know him. Hence, we understood that this guy is the champion, and one day he's gonna play handpan, and the world will. It was back in 2013 when BJP announced Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate. I guess that Mama is gonna make it big one day, and hence he's there on a podcast, which is one of the most heard podcasts in the world. What do you say, Priya?
Yes, it
17,
is.
a total of 17 people listen to us every week.
Yeah. Yeah, in Mars, people do listen to.
Yeah,
Anyway, moving on.
so that's it. That's pretty much it for the episode. Thank you so much, Abhishek, and
Yeah, thanks, guys.
to all the listeners, we'll link all of Abhishek's handle in the description. You can follow him on Instagram. He's an excellent designer, illustrator, and a sketch artist, if I'm not wrong to say that. So you can like paint your face right in front of you. And
Wow.
his recent piece that he released on YouTube, which has got nearly 200,000 hits, we'll link the description and just subscribe, follow, and he's gonna keep releasing more of good work. And yeah, that's how it's done. Say that again, mate, is the name of the podcast. You were listening to Abhishek Dhar from a different universe who's gonna convert into vegan soon. One last thing before we sign off, Mama.
Yeah.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Mbappe.
No, man. No
No, I take it
way.
back. I don't like Mbappe as a Madrid fan. We hate Mbappe for what he has done. Messi or Ronaldo, like I'll be very honest. Today, I'll say today, what's the time? 10 a.m. Saturday. Today it's Messi. It might change, but yeah.
At 10:01.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Messi was
said
the
Sachin
answer.
Tendulkar. Guys, okay, wrap up. Come on.
Priya, Ronaldo is a football player who
अरे यार.
is, just
You
in
know,
case you don't know.
before we ended, I just wanted to say, have you seen those reels where they make fun of podcasters these days, where they say with heavy voice they
Yeah,
mimic them, they
yeah, yeah,
imitate
yeah.
how they talk, and very 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 like basic thing. आपको पता है कि आंखों में अगर ग्लिसरीन पड़ जाए जी, तो आंखों से पानी आ सकता है. So I'm just saying, Abhishek bhai, I hope we are not in that category.
No, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
Sure, man. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Abhishek, for turning up on the podcast and this amazing piece on Handpan. And thanks, everyone. We'll see you again next week with
Great. Thank you, guys. Have a nice
Bye,
something
day.
else.
guys.
Hey there, thanks for listening to the podcast. Just in case you liked the episode, do leave us a rating and follow us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to. It'll be of great help if you share the podcast with your friends and tell them what podcast you're consuming. And you can also send us your questions, suggestions, feedbacks, and AMAs at pleasesaythatagainmate@gmail.com, or you can DM us on our Instagram. Our handles are there in the description of the show. And with that, I'll take your leave and see you again next week.